hoping there's been a bit of a jump in quality. I have got a new phone. The camera is much better. Does this mean I'm gonna have to like dress nicely and do my face and stuff now? Because it's very obvious how red my face is in this new camera. I've also re-dyed my hair so it doesn't look quite so much white hair growing out my forehead. I filmed some clips on the 4th, which I'm hoping I've already added into this vlog. Maybe started off a little bit artsy, who knows. I took a couple of days off this week, Thursday and Friday. Thursday, which is when I recorded those clips, I did a little bit of a kind of writing morning. I just tried to get out some words, and I managed about 5k, and they were all in like 20-minute sprints or less. So I did 4 20-minute sprints, and then I also did a 32-minute sprint, and got just about 5k. So kind of happy with that. I feel like maybe the slight break in February was definitely worth doing, so that's good to know. And then this morning I am attempting to do something a little bit similar. Yesterday I had one of my self-care days and I literally did nothing. I think I watched like a Broadway show on my streaming app and a load of episodes of Bones, which I'm almost out of, so I will stop referencing watching Bones on these vlogs at some point. I've set up a playlist where I have writing timers, so most of them are Jessica Williamson, but occasionally a couple of other ones which I know I like, interlaced with some like authortube videos or just some fun videos to kind of give me a break rather than watching one of those study with me's. It worked quite well on Thursday. I'm going to try it again, and so far I've done 45 minutes so far, and I've done just short of 2,000. So the aim is to do 40 minutes now, take a bit of a break, do another 40 minutes, and then just see where I am. If I don't hit 40 minutes, that's okay, because it kind of needs to be okay. I'm not going to get used to this new camera quality at all, am I? It also allows me to do time lapses, so they might be a completely different speed now. I have no idea whether it would look weird compared to my other ones. I've got myself a mug of peppermint tea in my little teapot for one. And yeah, the aim is just to try and get through a fair amount today if I can. I'm in the bad guys close in moments, and what I'm realising is that this book feels like I have got the right amount of stuff happening. So in the last 2 books, everything's felt kind of slow, and it almost feels like the B plots aren't really working in those ones, or the main plot isn't really moving enough. Whereas this one, a lot is happening and I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it so much more. Now that I've had a bit of a break from it, I think February I wasn't enjoying it because I was burning out. So I took a couple of days, chilled out a little bit towards the last like fortnight of February and just did the bare minimum writing. And now I feel like I'm a little bit back, which is good to know. I keep getting the urge to just start rereading this series, which I think is a good thing. And this week I also started getting little bits of ideas, which I tend to get occasionally, but I've been getting quite a few of them, and it's almost like my brain is starting to churn out the idea of the series and come out with these little tidbits. And just things like, most of my magics are really visible and really physical, and then one of them is really, really emotional, like very much in their heads. And I thought I was contrasting that well, but I don't feel like I am. So I kind of want to add a more physical element to that particular magic and make it so it's possible for it to show more physically. Whether or not it does, I don't know. One of the slightly awkward things, for anyone who doesn't know, all my series have a flashback happening at the same time as the series, and usually it's following a crew member and sort of going over their backstory and how they became a space pirate or how they became part of the crew. And the current one really wasn't working, could not make it work at all. I think I've picked a very boring point, but I'm also very aware of consistently going back to their childhoods because they're all fairly young. I think I want to add more to this character. So what I've essentially done and said to myself is I'm not going to continue writing the flashbacks in this book. I've put a massive chunk in there of things I want to consider and potential options, but then from this point on I'm not going to write it because it's so boring and it needs so much overhaul that it doesn't seem worth doing. I'm not going to find any gems in this. It's trash. So we're going to put that down, and so we're just working on the main crew plotline. And this one as well, I've got one of the crew on a slightly different mission. So we're kind of following a bit of both of those, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, so overall, I'm about 32,000 for this book 7. I feel like it could definitely be 50k. I'm just not convinced it's going to be much more than 50k now, which is okay. It does mean that if I took the whole month to write the last kind of what would have been 25,000 words, I'm going to be quite behind, but it's okay. What I can then do in April for camp is do book 8, and then from May we are in rereading territory. I have bought Campfire Blaze. I have absolutely bought on board that train. I need a timeline help. I need some way of keeping track of my characters in a much better way than I'm currently doing. Because currently in my Dabble app, which is where I write, which I don't think I'm going to change, I think I'm going to keep writing in it. Unless the Campfire Blaze manuscript is amazing and I might attempt it for something. I really, really like the Dabble app, I don't want to lose it. So it has on the side essentially an area where you can put kind of character profiles and information. You can add notes and make folders in there. And that's fantastic. If you're writing a standalone, that's probably amazing. Because I'm running a series and trying to do multiple drafts of the series, the files get quite big quite quickly. So originally I got to like book 3 and then I was like, no, this is slowing down too much. It might have been my Chromebook, it might not have been the app itself, but I thought this isn't going to work. I'm going to switch and make a new project and put the next 3 books in there and basically do them by trilogies. And I didn't copy the notes with me, because I didn't want to slow everything down. My notes are in project for the first trilogy, so occasionally I have to come out of what I'm writing and go and look for information and come back. And I feel like having it in something like Campfire where I can then have that up on a separate tab and I can just flick between makes more sense. I'm going to give it a go when I reread. It also seems to have a section where it counts how many words you've written in it, which is amazing because I can track my Milwordy while I'm doing my planning. Beautiful. So I'm going to essentially rebuild all of my character outlines and plans and stuff while I'm rereading. And basically when I hit a character description, I'm going to look back in my folder and say, is that consistent with the last description I made of that person? And it probably isn't, because that's not what I do. That's the thought process. I am so tired. I don't know why I'm always so tired when I film. But I found on Thursday that I did really, really well in the morning, and then as soon as it hit like 1 o'clock, I just wanted lunch and to sit on the sofa and do nothing. I would like to kind of push it a little bit today, but I'm gonna listen to myself more, and if I get through a bunch of stuff, but then it goes, nope, can't do it, you have to stop, that's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Because I don't have to push myself this month. As long as this book gets done, and I'm pretty confident I can do that, I can sort everything else. I can sort book 8 out next month, and then it will be rereading time. If I could do another 5k, that'd be pretty nice. I'm not far off that. I am going to go and write now. I will hopefully check in later. I'm not always so great with checking out these. I apologise. Too long to make this update, but you guys deserve an update. It is Tuesday, the 23rd of March today. I finished the 0 draft of book 7 of Space Pirates last Thursday. I feel like I should explain some of the timeline in between. So Thursday, I sat down, I did about an hour straight of writing, which I haven't done in such a long time. At least it feels that way. Probably have done, but it feels like I've been doing lots of little spurts and nothing's really been going at that kind of speed. So I sat down, did an hour of writing and just finished the book. One of the things that I think is the reason I didn't pick up the camera straight afterwards, firstly because I went into my partner and we went straight into talking about the book and making dinner and all of that kind of stuff. But I think also because this book was, I think I mentioned this earlier in the vlog, if not, it was in the Worldwide Write-a-thon vlog. But this book is the all is lost, darkest point in the series. And then the next book we're going to start to make our way out before we get the real big final in book 9. And without going into any spoilers, there were some definitely some dark scenes. There were some emotionally hard scenes, and I was talking to my partner about this. The only way I could get myself to write some of these days was to put on some fast-paced music and I listen to a bit of Hamilton or put a little bit of AJR on and kind of hype myself up. And you can't hype yourself up for what is essentially, for some scenes, saying goodbye to some characters, or in other scenes just disasters happening. So what I found is I went into writing those last few days and bummed myself out each time. So in some of them, they were a lot shorter sessions than I was expecting. And for that last one, I think there was just a part of me that just wanted to get it all out and done. That just could not stand the idea of eking this out over a few more days. So on the day I finished, we went straight into having a bit of dinner and talking about the books, and then over the weekend I didn't turn on the camera. And I think I needed that. This is one of the few weekends in a while where I haven't been asking myself to write loads or expecting myself to do some kind of filming. I've had self-care days that I've talked about where I've picked a particular day and I'm trying to do at least one of those each month. But what I managed this weekend was to have a weekend of chill. So on Sunday I did literally nothing but watch TV and talk to family. And on Saturday, I think I did a little bit of some things that are productive, but not much. I got to do a little bit of the crafting that I enjoy doing that I haven't picked up in a long time, which I'm tempted to maybe record some of, because for anyone who doesn't know, I can't remember if I've spoken about this in the vlogs before. I also can't remember if I spoke about it and then cut it out, which sounds like it might have been what happened. Me and some of my friends before the pandemic used to play D&D in person, and while we were doing that I used to build little kind of set pieces. So when you're playing in D&D, you usually have like a grid, a square in the grid is a certain amount of distance, and a lot of your spells or your character's movement is reliant on how many grid lines they can cross. So what I used to do is build these kind of little grids into sort of like stone foam boards or made of wood ones, and like little set pieces. So I've got some like little stone columns that my DM can kind of put out on there as kind of obstacles or things to hide behind. And I got quite into this before the pandemic, and then since the pandemic I've done none of it. I think it might be space related because my study is now so work related in my head, and I can do productive work in there, but it's set work. Like I'm really struggling to write in there at the moment. I have to write here in the living room, and then that means that the living room is for me to write in, if I want to work out in, play video games in. It becomes really difficult to make this space also feel like I can craft in it, or I can take up the whole table and pull it out and then lose space to do those other activities. But what I'm doing at the moment is taking some old Pringles cans and I'm going to make essentially like a modular city wall. So I'm going to have Pringles cans as like turrets, and then I'll have in between it like sort of wall pieces where there'll be hopefully like a playable surface on the top. They're always shooting off them in Lord of the Rings and things, but there'll be a little playable surface there. I've got some ladders to make it look like people can climb up and down them. I want to make the turrets so that they can look like a proper castle turret, or with essentially I want to make roofs that you can add if you want to, and make it all completely modular. You can have some longer pieces, some shorter pieces, some big turrets, some small turrets. So I allowed myself. So on Saturday I sat and I started watching Criminal Minds, which is my new thing because I've finished all of Bones now. And I just started like looking at it and not putting any pressure on myself to get anything of it done, but just saying I'm going to put on the TV and I'm going to literally work out one thing that I might want and build it. So one of the things I was saying to myself is what I want to have is kind of solid pieces on there that look like they're in the right place. So I made these little ladder pieces. I might just film this another time and go through it all, but essentially like lollipop stick things with kind of little bits of wood, and I'll tart them up and paint them, but then I can add them and sort of have them as part of the modular set, so you'll be able to look like they're viable to climb up and be part of it. This whole thing is a massive tangent. All of this to say that I haven't written since I finished that book, and that I think is exactly what I needed. I'm not sure if I'm going to start it before camp. For anyone who doesn't know, that's Camp Nano, which is in April. It's like NaNoWriMo in November's, but instead of having a set goal of 50,000 words, you can pick your own goal in April. So if you're drafting, you can pick to count words, you can count hours of work, I think. Can't remember what else you can do because I've never done anything other than those two. And I'm going to do it word count based because I'm still drafting. It's kind of going to be an interesting camp because within the first week of camp, we in the UK here will have 2 bank holidays because it's Easter. I might actually be able to have what is essentially a 5-day weekend because we have Good Friday and Easter Monday. I might be able to get like some serious stuff set up then, so I'm not too worried about pushing myself. What I've also done, I've also booked off the last 2 days in April, so no matter what happens, if I'm in a rush, if I'm kind of rushing to the finish, I have a chance to get a load in. There's a part of me that is very, very sorely tempted on one of these kind of weekends, either in the beginning of April or the end, to do something a bit mad. So to do like a 24-hour write-a-thon or a 12-hour if I was going to calm down, or a 24-hour in 36 or something like that. The only caveat I'd have to that is usually when I try something like this, I need a different location. So I think I did a 16-hour over a weekend once. I essentially took them as 2 working days, but I made a point to walk into town and go and write at a coffee shop, and this was all pre-pandemic and we're not at that point yet. I'm not sure if I'd be able to, may have to find a way to write in bed comfortably because I can never find a good position that after 20 minutes my arms aren't dying or my back isn't giving up. I can never really write in bed, but maybe I should try and see if I can find a way to. I don't see myself writing much more before camp starts, and because of that, what I might say is that this will be the end of this vlog, and if I do write before camp, I might just make it part of the first Camp Nano vlog, because what I'm also hoping to do, and I did this in November without much great success, but we'll give it a go, is I might try and do weekly writing vlogs for camp. It helps that there's more of a community around the camp stuff, and I so enjoy watching people do kind of weekly or daily vlogs during camps, and there's no way I can do daily vlogs, so just not possible. Maybe in July. Maybe. If I do right now, I might make it part of April's camp video next week. See where I feel like I am and see if I can just jump into some book 8 or whether I need a bit more break until April officially starts and just start it on the 1st. All going to be very interesting. And I'm still talking. These videos are starting to become a situation where I just sit in front of the camera and I get to the end of the month because I don't do any of the editing for this video during the month. And I turn around to my partner and go, I don't know how, but I have hours of footage and I have to get that into some kind of watchable format. Let me know down in the comments how your March is going or has gone if you're like me and you've just managed everything somehow. Let me know if you're going to start camp early this year, because I've seen a few people that I think considering starting it a little bit early. I will put up here as well where the month ended, because once again I am unprepared and I haven't come to you with any kind of word count. It is a very low word count book. We're going to ignore that because there are lots of places where I've put edit notes to myself saying stop, just stop. So whole kind of subplots have just stopped running in this book. And for Milwordy, I think I updated this earlier, I'm over 400,000, which is insane. And I have one more book, and then I can start rereading them and really getting into the nitty-gritty of how do I want this to come across and making sure that everything's consistent, because it's definitely not, and thinking of all the foreshadowing bits and pieces that I want to add in. So that'll be super exciting. There'll hopefully be more interesting vlogs. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Why does my hair keep getting all up here in my neck? Am I moving my head too much? I am wearing a top as well. It doesn't look like I am, but I am. Not that any of that's relevant. I'm just talking shit now.